Anybody ever tell you you had a ton of this? Second grade, Miss Loretta told me I had tons of this. In middle school, Miss Akel, after she got done telling me, hey, don't fall asleep with food in your mouth or cockroaches will get in there, she said I was oozing with this. In high school, my high school wrestling coach told me after I won a big match, he sat me down at the local McDonald's and told me how much of this I really had. What was this? This was potential. It made me feel great. All these people thought I had tons of potential. It made me feel like I'd achieved something. It made me feel like all I had to do was sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride because I had so much potential. It wasn't until when I get to high school and I'm about to graduate and I'm getting all these awards, at this award ceremony, did I realize something had to be too good to be true. So, some of the same people sitting in the crowd right now were cheering as I got these awards. But I was on stage thinking to myself, something's up here. I was disappointed. I'd felt like I had so much potential and I hadn't even realized it. And that person standing up there was upset and disappointed, not excited, because they hadn't fulfilled their potential. All those people thought you had a lot of potential, Akeem, but hadn't told me how to fulfill it. No one went over the how. So I went on a journey to find the how. Now, I did remember back in high school, we went over potential before in science class, and it was referred to as potential energy, right? So potential energy was energy stored within an object due to the object's position. So let's see a couple examples of that. So now here, we got a 2-time Super Bowl MVP, champion, and soon-to-be Hall of Famer with a ton of stored potential in that football. Right? Those of you that know, something good's about to happen right after this play, okay? But because of the position of the football, there's a ton of potential in it. Now, these folks, for some reason, thought it was a good idea to stand on top of this cliff, and because of their position on top of the cliff, they have tons of potential. Now, this guy, he's up here trying to tell you about how much potential people thought he had. Well, he got about 14,000 feet worth of potential, more than he bargained for on this day. But because he's 14,000 feet up, he has tons of potential energy, right? But there was another type of energy we learned about in science class. Kinetic. Kinetic energy defined as energy of motion observable as movement. Motion. So let's see some of those examples, but now let's see them as kinetic energy. Here, again, 2-time Super Bowl champion, MVP, soon-to-be Hall of Famer, right, has now released the football, thrown it, and now the potential converted to kinetic. Now, again, I hear you. The people standing on the cliff decides to jump, but now they go from a position of potential energy to kinetic energy, motion. Now, this guy, again, had a whole ton of potential. Remember, 14,000 feet worth. Now he got a little less because he is flying straight towards the ground, losing potential energy, and now in a state of kinetic energy. So what happened? What happened in all those examples to move from potential to kinetic? Force. Force was applied to the potential and made it into kinetic. So I believe if we are to fulfill our potential, we need to apply force to that potential and get it in motion. We have to find the force that makes that happen. We have to find the spark that makes that happen. I had to find my spark. So at one point I decided I'm going to finish college. I was a college football coach for a long time, and I decided I wanted to segue into education. So I thought, okay, well, I got tons of potential, right? I did my resume. I decided that maybe this is something I could get done. Resume after resume went out. All I heard was no. Shocked me, right? I said, hold on, wait. They said, well, you don't have a ton of experience. I got a lot of potential, though, right? Well, maybe you should stick to athletics, but I got a lot of potential to do a lot of other things. I began to think to myself, something got to be wrong with these folks. Something's up with them. Nothing but locked doors, right? I didn't have the key. I couldn't get in, and no one was letting me in. I resented the process. I resented the people because of what was happening to me. It had to be something up with them that made it happen. They couldn't see what I could see. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. Maybe I had something to learn. Maybe I had to improve. Maybe I needed to look in the mirror and figure out how to move my potential to kinetic. You got a lot of potential, but if I didn't move into kinetic, nothing would happen. So, in that mirror, as I stood there, I had found my spark. I had found what was going to do that for me, move potential to kinetic, and that was humility. Humility was the spark that moved me from a state of stagnant potential to moving and moving and moving. Okay? So I said, let me look at this. There's people out there that have done it before. Let me go ask them. There's people out there that can improve the person that I want to be. Let me ask them. There's things that I can do to improve myself. Let me go do it. Instead of wondering about why doors were closing, work on myself, and maybe they open. And sure enough, I put some humility into my potential, and now doors started to open. There I was. Opportunity after opportunity started to come my way. Some I had to turn away, all because I put the blinders on, I worked on myself, and I got in motion. And I didn't rely on the fact that everybody had told me I had a ton of potential. I just kept working and kept putting it in motion. And now here we are. So, you still think humility can't be a spark? A few days ago, I sat down and I watched the memorial service for Kobe Bryant. Michael Jordan stepped up to speak, and he talked about how relentlessly Kobe pursued excellence. He talked about how at the free throw line during his rookie season, he's playing against Michael Jordan, and he's asking Michael for tips about how to shoot free throws. They exchange numbers at some point, and he decides he's going to call Michael 12, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., asking about how to improve, what footwork should I use, how to be a better businessman, how to be a better father. He did not rely on the things that he had and was given. He put it into action. He was smart enough to know that he had to be humble about his potential if he was going to fulfill it. So eventually, he became the Kobe we know today. Why? Because he didn't keep talking about how much potential he had. He went and found people that knew how to do it and asked a question and put work into his potential to make it kinetic. So, if you're thinking that you got a lot of potential, but you don't know how to fulfill it, think about this. I'm going to give you a few steps on how to get there. Okay? First one, find a mentor. Somebody's done it. Humble yourself and ask. Second, invest in yourself. Right? Think about things that can improve yourself and go out and do it. Maybe it's a TED Talk. Maybe it's another class. Find ways to improve you. That ego that we all have, throw it out the window. It's holding you back. And last but not least, when you get done with doing all of that, you do it over and over and over again because it's a lifelong process. So, let me be your second grade teacher, your middle school teacher, your high school wrestling coach. And if nobody's told you before, you all have tons of potential. I'm going to tell you how. How to convert the potential to kinetic. You find that spark that's going to get you in motion. And if you're like me, you're going to pick up your ego. You're going to pick up your entitlement. You're going to put it in a box outside the door. You're going to apply humility to your potential, get moving, and repeat. Thank you.